Test, test. Hopefully that's working good and not broken like it was last week. If somebody's on here, comment and let me know.
Megtooth Sabers requires a lot of work on engineering, drilling, smoothing, tapping, setting, imagining, cutting, stripping, twisting, dipping, tin it, pin it, wire it, fire it, lock it, blast it, swing it, bash it. Megtooth Sabers.
Alright, hopefully we've got sound. And let me turn that volume down a little bit so I'm not blowing y'all out. So just really quick, and catch up in chat, y'all let me know how that sound is right now. And, ooh, kind of blowing y'all out with backlighting. Sorry about that. Let me know how that sound is on chat. Hopefully it's not glitchy like it was last week. And we'll go on. And I hear you, Max. Let me get up and close the door so I'm not killing Jen and Ukulele Girl. Alright. Sorry about that. Kind of was running last minute everything. So hopefully we got some people on and life is good. And basically I'll kind of tell you what we're going to do tonight. So I have Jesse Kirkbride's new remastered version of A New Hope training. And I think what we're going to do tonight is on my Mentor Graphics is we're going to add Jesse Kirkbride's A New Hope training font onto this saber. And I'm going to walk y'all through all that in both Arduino and on the computer. So hopefully y'all will be able to see that. But that's the plan for tonight. And whew, it's been a busy week. Hey, Michael Dallin, Truth 1777. Mike, it's good to see you. It's been a busy week. My comms. Jen's down there making the boxes right now for all the MyComs to ship out tomorrow. I'm short 1 or 2 boxes, Mike. I'm going to have to run to the post office again tomorrow. But yeah, it's been a busy week on my bench. And got a lot of stuff happening. And I want to get to this ANH Graphics tonight. So basically what we're going to do is on this ANH Graphics, just so y'all can see it, number one, you basically take the battery pack off just like you do when you're, going to swap out the battery. And once you get the battery off, that gives you access to the SD and the programming port in there. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. Let me try and get some light on that. That's going to blow it out. And you'll see the SD card and the micro USB in there. It's not fun to get to, but it's in there. So at any rate, we're going to add this new font in on there, and we're also going to have to redo the config. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to pull out the SD card. I'm so glad, Mike. Last week was so frustrating. These glitches on my computer, if it's not my internet speed, it's, last week was some kind of a sound glitch, I don't know. But at any rate, one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to put my SD card into my computer, and I'm going to share the screen here. So y'all stand by. Let's go to Windows Share. Let's go to Windows Share without me in it. And I'm going to, let's see here. Let me try something. Can y'all still hear me now using this microphone? Because I'm having to switch microphones to do something else. Just making sure that y'all can still hear me on this microphone, because I'm going to need to add in some other stuff. And I wanted to see if the computer sound Good. I don't know if y'all are going to be able to see the sounds or not, but I just want to make sure that you can hear me. Actually, you know what? You're not going to be able... Oh, okay, that's better. Well, so then I'm curious, can you all hear, because I don't hear what you're hearing. If I play a wave file, like let's play the hum, and I'm going to go back to chat and see if y'all can hear that. Can y'all hear that hum being played? Trying to figure out if you could hear that hum being played. So somebody let me know if they could hear it, because that's going to be important as we go forward. Sweet. Just somebody let me know, yeah, we heard the hum, or you did not hear the hum when I played that sound file. Because we're getting ready to begin. And I kind of was hoping y'all could hear some of the sounds so you could hear Jesse's. Sweet. Awesome. That's awesome. All right, so off we go. Let's close this. And I'm going to minimize all this and close that. And number one, I'm going to go into my folder here, and I'm going to grab my Mentor Graphics folder out of here. Yep, there we go. So I'm going to pull my Mentor Graphics folder back out onto the desktop so we can actually work with the config and with the sound fonts. And I've got Jesse Kirkbride's ANH V3 font here. And when you buy these fonts, and this is a cautionary note for everybody, but when you buy these fonts, and you can see Jesse's now got an ANH training and just a normal Graphics that has normal shot deflections in it. And he's got a folder with extras too, but we'll get to that in a second. But when you first click on ANH Graphics, I know some people like to drop this font right on their SD card. Don't do that. Because when you first open that folder, you can see you have versions for CFX, Proffie, and Verso. So you want to make sure that you expose the Proffie files. Now these are the files you want to add onto your SD card. Now I already have ANH training on my lightsaber, but I'm going to replace all the files because he's remastered this. So I'm going to copy all of those files, and I'm going to go into my Mentor Graphics SD contents and ANH train. I'm going to copy all these files there. I'm paste them all there, and I'm going to replace all the files. I should get a warning here in a minute going, hey, yeah, replace all the files. Okay, so now I should have the new files on there, and we should be good. So ANH training is updated. It's that easy. But now I'm going to create a new folder. Now remember, he's segregated ANH training into two. So you have, I'm going to call this ANH Flex. We're going to call the new font ANH Flex, which Jesse's redone. So I'm going to go back out, and you can see this. Ooh, I put the wrong. Hang on a minute. Let me go back and copy these into ANH training, because I think I put ANH Flex into ANH training. That's all right. It'll be all right. We're just going to override them again. Now replace all those files with the same names. Now Jesse puts his sound files in these subfolders, which just allows the Proffie to access them quicker. But you may buy some fonts and you'll just see font names. Let me go back and show you an old one here in a minute. Let me finish doing this and I'll show you what I'm talking about. But Jesse puts all his sounds in these subfolders like this, and that's fine when you have more than one. It actually helps the Proffie access those quicker. Now I'm going to go back to ANH Flex, and now this is the one. I'm going to go back and show y'all what I'm doing. So So I want to close out of all this so you guys can see where I'm beginning. Now I have my ANH Flex folder opened. Now I'm going to go to the actual font, ANH V2, ANH V2, ANH Graflex. This is the brand new font. And then I want to select Proffie, and then I want to grab all those files. So I'm highlighting all those files, right click, copy, and now I'm going to drop them into our ANH Flex folder, paste, bam. So there we go. Now, for tunes, I'm probably going to use, I have my own tunes that I'll use, and we'll get to my config here in a minute. But let me go show you what a font looks like that doesn't have, go to Proffie fonts, and let me go find one I know that doesn't have the folders. Cross 2020. No, this has the folders. Now that's a newer version. It's crazy how many versions of these fonts that I have. Let's go to Case This Funnel Complete, because I don't think this one had the folders. Crossguard. Yeah. So this one didn't have the segregated folders like you saw Jesse had. Now this is an older version of Case This Crossguard, but you can see it just has all his sound files in there. But the big danger area is sometimes you may see this folder and just want to drop this folder into your folder on the SD card, and you can't do that. So whatever your folder is called on your SD card, so we'll open up my SD card contents on my Mentor Graflex, and you can see my folder is called ANH Flex, and when I open it up, as soon as I open it, the first subdirectory should be all the sound fonts that comprise the actual sound fonts. You can see here, we'll play this hum, and the hum wave should be going now. This is the hum on ANH Graflex. This is brand new mastered by Hyperphonic, Jesse Kirkbride. He just remastered this. So you just want to make sure that you pull those fonts down to their core group before you drop them into your folders that are going on your SD card. And this is my SD card on my Mentor Graflex. This is what the contents are. But before we upgrade my folder, and we're going to go check in on chat here and find out where y'all are doing. Sweet. Okay, hum's good. Hey, Darth Guide. Hey, Maker Channel. Hey, Max. All right, let's go back into this. So now we've got some new fonts ready to go on my SD card. Now the big problem is, and I got Micon stuff all over the place, so y'all just bear with me. But now what we need to do is we need to go to my config folder, my OS, and let me find my Mentor Graflex. Where is it? What did I call it? Oh, mentorconfig.h. There it is. 6 blades. This config is crazy. So you can see I've got my ANH Train and Drone Wave, and there's all the blades on that one. But now we're going to add a new font, and this one's going to be, now I have to add a whole new preset here to include the new font. So what I'm going to do is we're going to, what do we call this? ANH Flex, comma, and then tracks. I'm going to put Swirls Wave in there, and then basically I'm going to keep all the blade styles the same as they were in A New Hope training, and I'm going to come here and I'm going to highlight all the blade styles so I don't have to go hunting those on Fernando's site, and that'll make this config adjustment pretty easy. But so we've added sound fonts. We also have to remember we have to modify our config to include the new sound font that we put on our SD card. So a lot of folks are just buying LGT Sabers or Patch Store Proffie Sabers, and they're just adding their sound fonts on their SD cards, but they're not adding them into their config file. So basically here I added a brand new preset, and this saber is not the easiest to show y'all what a preset is because there's 6 blades on this thing. If y'all have seen this thing lit up, you know it's complicated. But at any rate, I think that's good. Let's save this puppy. yes. And I'm going to close that. Now, I'm also going to copy this and I'm going to put it on my Mentor Graflex SD card, SD contents, and I'm going to overwrite my old config that was on there. You can see it was last modified on January 22nd, 2021. Now it's up to May 31st, 2021. And now this is going to have the new A New Hope Flex and also Jesse's remastered A New Hope training on there. So that's pretty cool. Now, I want to write this all to my SD card. So let me see if y'all have any questions before I get to writing this to the SD card. Sweet. Hopefully the sound is working still. Let me check that in Streamlabs, make sure the sound is still on. Looks like we're still good. And we're in business. Let's scroll down here. All right, so here we go. We're getting ready to program the Proffie. We're getting ready to program the SD card. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open this Mentor Flex. There's my SD card. Now, here's the scary part. So I'm going to take this, and I'm down here. Now, look, they're going to want you to use a different formatter, but I just use the quick Windows format. I'm going to erase everything on my SD card. Bam! Everything on my SD card's erased. So I got a fresh solder down there. There's nothing on it. So we're going to open up my SD card now. Maybe. What's taking so long? Okay. So there, my Mentor Graflex is now, SD card is now empty. So I'm going to take my SD contents folder that we created for this lightsaber, and I'm just going to copy these, and then we're going to paste them into the SD card. And bam. So here we go. So, you know, this is kind of the longest part of this whole thing. So while the SD card's writing, you know, I typically try not to do anything else because I don't want to mess the SD card up. I want to make sure we're still there. Dark Wolf has a config on there already. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles, but they do have the swing on and battle modes enabled by default. Johnny set up the SA22C button mods. Well, that's cool. And I certainly think I've got some videos, Max, where I show you how to set up the SA22C mods, including battle mode and everything. I think if you go back and look at the Making a Config video in October that I did on Ella's Princess Saber, I think you can actually see me writing that config with battle mode. So you can see the SD card's got a lot of information going on it. This is kind of like one of the longer parts because, you know, this is the SD card for the entire Saber. So there's quite a bit going on here as it writes it. And you can see it's writing it about, you know, anywhere from 10 to 18 megabits per second. And it's almost done. All right. So now my SD card is written. That's awesome. So now I'm going to go up. I'm going to eject. I've done a lot of SD card writing this week, folks. But I'm going to eject my SD card. And I'm going to put the SD card back in my lightsaber. Now, the real bitch is going to be getting my saber hooked up onto USB. Y'all aren't going to be able to see this, but I'm hooking the USB wire into my saber. Hopefully y'all hear it connect. Alright. Let's go. Hopefully I still got y'all on screen share. Oh yeah, OSB 6 is going to be awesome. I got more to talk about that in a second. I just want to get this saber updated. What am I doing here? Oh yeah, we're programming this lightsaber. So I'm going to open OS 5.7 and I'm going to go to the Proffie OS Eno and let's open Arduino with all of Frederick's brains included in it. And while we're waiting for that to open, All right. So now I have to scroll and find my Mentor Graphics config. But before I do that, I got to take this config out of there. That's Bobby Susan box. That's the last saber I programmed. So let's look here. Mentor Graphics. I'm looking for it. Oh, there it is, right there. So there's my Mentor Graphics, right below Perez Graphics. So I must have built my Mentor right after we built Mike's Graphics. Now, this is a Proffie 2.2, so I have to go to my boards manager because I've been programming Teensy 4s all week. And I have to scroll down to Proffie board V2 because now we're going to be programming a Proffie board V2. And then serial, I'm not making it serial plus USB. Smallest code SPI port. Let's make sure we got a port showing here. Something's really slowing things down tonight. Tools, port, COM26, Proffie board. All right, so now we're going to hit upload. Here we go. We'll see if this works. I was getting an error in font directory when I first plugged it in, but because it might have been seeing something it hadn't seen before. But so now what Arduino is doing is it's compiling my config file to make sure it does not conflict with the operating system for Proffie OS. And then it'll simplify it as much as it can, and then it'll pack it onto the Proffie and overwrite the config file that I did have on there before, as long as I don't have any errors. Let's see here. It's always scary when the orange letters pop up, isn't it? But it's still compiling. Oh, bam! Here it goes. It's actually writing, so it worked. So now on the new version of Arduino, you don't have to scroll down. It automatically counts up. But in the old version of Arduino, you can actually watch the programming process by scrolling. And so I'm in an older version. You know, I'm still on 1.8.9. I'm old-fashioned. I don't want to upgrade because everything's working good right now. And if I upgrade, I might lose the ability to upload. And then that will really suck. That will not be good. And we're off to the races. So we're almost through adding fonts to this saber, and we actually added new blade styles and everything. We added a whole new preset, and we've got Jesse Kirkbride's upgraded ANH training and ANH Graphics, which was part of the ANH training package, and I've showed. Still getting an error in font directory. I'm not sure what that's about. I might have to go and check all the folders, and I may have to do that after the video, but let's get y'all back on here. Hey, we'll see you, Michael Dallin. You can always watch it later because they'll publish. Let's put the battery in.
Error in font directory.
Error in font directory. Well, isn't that special? So I'm going to have to go figure out what the hell the error in the font directory is. Hang on a minute. We'll get y'all back on. So this is the new A New Hope training. Let's ignite.
Saber. This is the weapon of a Jedi Knight.
That's awesome. So, obviously I have some stuff to add to that. Let me switch mics. Y'all tell me which mic's better. The mic that I'm on or the one I'm getting ready to switch. And then I'll answer questions. So is this mic better or is the mic better that I was on? V2 Arduino plugin. I'm pretty sure the V2 Arduino plugin Max is good to go. As a matter of fact, the subject I'm getting ready to talk about, V3 is in beta. So yeah, I'm pretty sure V2.2 is pretty good to go because we're in beta on V3 on something else I'm getting ready to talk to y'all about here in just a minute. So the new fonts on there, I'm still getting an error in font directory, and I'm not sure why. I'll have to.
I suggest you try it again, Luke.
I know why.
Let go your conscious self and act on instinct.
Because I did not add the Swar's wave onto it, so I'll get that fixed. But you guys get the gist. I mean, it's pretty easy to add fonts on there, and I love Jesse Kirkbride's New Hope training. That's my favorite font. And it's now on my bad Saber. So next, and I don't know if I have my thing over here. Oh yeah, I do. So I may have to bring y'all on the workbench here in a minute, but I wanted to show y'all the some of the stuff I'm working on. So there's a little secret that's kind of out of the bag, but the Proffie V3s are now in beta, and I was hoping mine would arrive in the mail, but it didn't yet. But I do have one on the way, so I am a Proffie V3 beta tester, and this is going to be my beta Saber. This is a KR Sabers flagship. And I have the double switch solution on the way that's aluminum. And, the chassis and the battery contacts, I already have all that. And this is going to get Proffie V3 in there, 28 millimeter bass speaker, and it's going to have the stock connector. And of course, I'll have my really cool blade plug here, which is an Arkham DSC razor blade plug. Stainless steel that's been blued. That's going to be, sitting in the top of the Saber like that. So I'm also adding Dimitri Stock's brand new connector in here, which I want to show you all that because I got that about wired up and ready to go. So I'm going to transition y'all here in a second over here. Stand by. And we'll get y'all moved. I'm going to put y'all on Windows share here real quick so you guys can see a little bit of the craziness, but hopefully it won't be too bad. And I'm going to try and get y'all in here and onto this cool connector. So y'all saw I got these stock V3 connectors last week, and what I've done is I've already wired this one up to a plug, which y'all know. If you watch my Megtooth Mondays, we built a test rig out of a MHS V6 holder, and I've got the female NeoPixel plug on that. And this way it allows us to test how things are working. So, actually, let me do this first. So I'm going to thread this down through a 1-inch blade holder. This is another thing, y'all, since I'm doing quasi tutorials here. When you're testing a blade adapter, you should never hold the blade adapter onto your blade by hand. You should always put your blade adapter in some kind of 1-inch holder to test it. So I'm not going to be hand holding a blade in here. I'm actually going to be putting my blade inside of there and not hand holding it. And I want to make sure that my wires aren't touching there. Hey, Jesse, you just missed. I added my ANH Graflex onto onto this saber. So we got ANH Graflex on there. And I got to show y'all where to get that site. So I'm going to actually have your website pulled up. And I'm going to go there in a minute and show everybody how to purchase your fonts. But at any rate, right now we're doing this whole lightsaber blade thing. Let's see if this connector works. Oh yeah. We're in business. So my blade connector works, but now let's actually check and see if my NeoPixels work. I see so many guys that are doing these things and they're like, my NeoPixels don't light up. And I'm like, yeah, well, did you wire it right? And did you call for it right in your config? So now we're going to solder my data wire for the NeoPixel accents that are in this stock connector on there. Live soldering. It's crazy. So now I want y'all to be able to see that. So we're going to hook it back up to our test rig that we built on Megtooth Monday Live. And, oh yeah, Jesse, it's awesome. I got some kind of error in font directory, but I think it's because I didn't add the WAV file that I called for in my config. I'm going to get that fixed here in a second. At any rate, here is Dimitri Stock's new connector with the crazy NeoPixels in it. This thing is nuts. That is insane, y'all. And I'll be able to show you what my blade plug is going to look like in my saber. That's insane. That's just awesome. So, kind of gives you a preview of what my Proffie beta saber is going to look like with the connectors. So that's how I test my connectors. And, you know, all is well. Things are bright, man. It almost hurts your eyes like the Tri-Crees used to. That's crazy. You know what? I should have put y'all on full screen for that. I don't know why I didn't put y'all on full screen. Yo, we're looking at a little preview screen. I don't think it's bright enough to light up a poly blade, Max. I got a poly blade here. I think we could try it. Yeah, stand by. We'll try that. So I got a poly blade here, and this is not a NeoPixel blade. This is an old, 1-inch just standard saber blade. We can pop in here, and we can test it for shits and giggles. Yeah, not really, Max. It lights up about the first part of the base, and then not much after that. Try to show y'all. It's just not really lit up well compared to a NeoPixel blade. Not quite strong enough to do that, Max, but that was a good thought. The answer to that question is no. And you saw it here first on Megtooth Sabers. You guys are on full screen now, right? I screwed up there. My apologies. But at any rate, let's get y'all back. Let's get y'all back on the stand here, and we can talk about some things. Holy crap! That was a tragedy. That was a tragedy. Wait till y'all see that. I know y'all are in a network delay. That was really bad. Oh, Lord have mercy. That scared the crap out of me. Everything came crashing down. Hope my... Oh, yeah, it all still works. So, y'all can see how all this stuff comes in handy. You know, the test rig that we built on one of my Megtooth Monday Lives, this thing is awesome. Saves me a lot of time. Lets me know things are working before they get going. Full screen. Yeah. So, yeah, I am going to be beta testing Proffie V3 in this saber. And I'll be working on this saber install as soon as I get all this Micom stuff shipped out. Those are all that don't know. I build Micoms too. And they're on the Proffie OS on Teensy V4s. And got 20 of those brand new rigs going out. They're pretty awesome. And once I get those shipped out, we'll be working on Proffie V3 testing as well as beta testing OS 6. So there's going to be a lot of stuff going on, but I got to get this saber built. So what I'm hoping for is I got the Proffie 3 in the mail this week, so I can build that saber maybe on Megtooth Monday Live next week. Well, you can already see I've already got some of it built out. So stand by, I'll pull this out. So this is the Dimitri stock adapter that's going in my Proffie beta saber, and you can see I've already wired it up. So, and this is wired V4, and you know, I've got two data lines because they're independent. The main blade data is separate from the accent NeoPixels, so it has two data lines and then a positive and negative 22 gauge running down there. So that's ready to go on the saber already, and the chassis is there. I'll probably pre-wire the speaker and the buttons. And I'm waiting on the Proffie V3 and the buttons, and other than that, we'll be ready to go. So I'll have my beta saber up and running, and I'll be able to test at least 2 different blade styles, and I may throw a OLED screen on there to test some OLED functionality. There were some things on the last beta that I didn't test that I wish we would have. When I beta tested Proffie 2.2, I think I had one of the more complex sabers, and I had 3 blades, but we never tested the 4th data pin in beta. And what I think I'll do is move those stock pixels to each data pin to test each data pin to make sure that they're firing the NeoPixels, because I think that was our biggest mistake on the last beta, was nobody had enough separate data lines to test all the data lines to make sure they were doing what they were supposed to be doing. Yeah, they're really close, Excelsior. They're you know, they're shipping out. You know, I got the shipping notice, but, you know, I know Matt McGurry, who's SA22C, he's also one of the beta testers. And, you know, Matt, I guess, you know, No Sloppy got his, which is Brian Connor. And Brian Connor got his Proffie V3, and me and Matt McGurry are like, where's mine? But they're on the way. No, I'm not going to do a zigzag blade. I'm just going to keep it simple. So when you're beta testing, Max, the one thing you really want to focus on and concentrate on are how most people are going to build their sabers. And, you know, Frederick put the zigzag capabilities in, I believe, before. Y'all hang on. Something's wrong with this camera. It's all messed up. It's all jacked up. It's my tripod screwed up. Hang on, let me fix that lower leg. But yeah, what you want to do when you're doing these beta tests is you want to be testing things that most people are going to be installing in lightsabers. It's not necessarily a test of that's going to drive me bonkers. It's not necessarily a test of all the crazy external stuff. So no, I'm not doing a zigzag blade. I'm just going to be doing a normal lightsaber blade. So Max, funny you were talking about, you know, maybe one of these Mondays a tutorial on how to do a thin neck. And it's funny that you said that, because I have a thin neck. Let me show you. Oh, where is it? Oh, so this is an OWK. This is an OWK saber. And this is for one of my biggest customers, and it was already installed and shipped to me, and I updated the config file, basically, is all I did to it. This one has a, you know, it has the chamber in it, and it's a cool saber. But the big problem with this saber is you can't get a blade in there. So I'm going to redo how the blade goes in there on this thin neck, and hopefully the owner will be able to run an actual real lightsaber blade in that saber. And when I do that, that's the whole reason that I bought this 7/8 Proffie pixel. I'm going to attempt to do the same thing on this saber that I did on the OWK4 that I installed for one of our Carolina Garrisons member, using that 7/8 inch stock blade adapter. So what I'm hoping is I'm going to build a recessed blade, and the blade will actually go around the 7/8 connector, which gives me full blade depth. And as that saber's installed right now, it was not installed by me. It was installed by somebody else. I'm not going to say who it was installed by, and I know, and he's a prominent guy in the saber community, but you can't even put a blade in that lightsaber. And what good is having a saber this nice if you can't even put a blade in it and wield it around? So I'm going to try and modify it so that, that we can actually fit a blade in it that works, so he can wield it around some. And I may do that on Megtooth Monday Live. We'll save that for one of the things, Max. Max, I pay attention to you. Now there's a question. Oh, you know what? Oh, yeah. And Kyberphonic, yes, I do love ANH training, your new versions of it. So while I've got y'all, let's go to Windows Share, No Peek, and we'll show y'all how to get Kyberphonic sound fonts. So if you just go to www.kyberphonicfonts.com, you'll be on his homepage, and then you just go to his fonts, and ANH training that we installed on this saber tonight is right there. Right there. That's how you get to Jesse Kirkbride saber fonts, for those of y'all that don't know. But it's pretty intuitive. Jesse's site's pretty easy to navigate. I believe K-Sith has gone to his own site now, which is pretty awesome. And it's been a busy bench this week. I'm sorry the sound problems were there so bad last week. And, it just seems like I'm having all these technological glitches, but, life's been crazy busy. Once I get these Mycoms out the door, I have 2 blades to build. One for the Star Killer saber, which I'll then put on the market, and Sarmiento will have dibs on that. And the second will be for another one of my customers, Bobby Susanbach, who's normally on here. That'll be my focus this week after I get the Mycom shipped out. We'll be building those 2 blades. And then that way I can get, Bobby's Graflex that I repaired, and we did that on Megtooth Monday Live with the board swap. His new blade for the saber he's building. He's actually building his first lightsaber, and I'll be able to get that. Yeah, Jesse Kirkbride's fonts are pretty awesome. My saber is pretty much running mostly Jesse Kirkbride, Kyberphonic, and K-Sith fonts exclusively. I use a bunch of fonts by Force as well. But those 3, Kirkbride, Force, and K-Sith are pretty much my go-to fonts. With that being said, there's a lot of great font makers out there. My most favorite font of all time was on Plector Labs was Juan Cis Graflex 4. And, when we were first coming across Smooth Swing and Teensy Saber, I had emailed Juan Sith, and I'm like, hey man, can you come on board and help us make these fonts? Because you had all these guys like me and Matt McGreary and some others that were trying to make our own Smooth Swing fonts, and we're like idiots. You can see when it comes to sound, I'm an idiot. That's why my sound wasn't working good on my stream last week, because I just don't have an ideal setup. This is like fly-by-night setup to do these live streams. I don't have a professional mic. I'm not a professional sound mixer. I'm a dork with a soldering iron. Yeah, Kyberphonics, what you got? I hear you. You want to hear it? What I love, Jesse.
Kid, I've flown from one side of this galaxy to the other. I've seen a lot of strange stuff, but I've never seen anything. Father's lightsaber. The weapon of a Jedi.
I love the force sounds, Jesse. I really love the force sounds. But yeah, so the Mentor Graflex is now updated with Kirkbride's sounds. And if y'all have never seen like crazy accent LEDs going on in this thing, you can see my reds going there. It's just insane the amount of stuff that's in that saber. Yeah, they are hard to make, Jesse, because how they were recorded initially. But man, I think you hit the nail on the head on A New Hope training. That's always been one of my favorite fonts for smooth swing. On the old soundboards that didn't have smooth swing, Wansets Graflex 4 was my favorite font, but now I'd have to say it's a toss-up between Jesse Kirkbride's ANH Graflex A New Hope training or K-Sys Crossguard. You know what the funny thing is? Kybertech Sabers, I think I bought ANH training like, I don't know, 7 or 8 times. I have so many different copies of it. I don't even know, man. I'm just like trying to throw as much money as I can at Jesse. And, when customers want those sound fonts on the Sabers, I'm like, yeah, buy them and then email me the sound font so I know you bought them. But, A New Hope training is sick. Absolutely sick. It's a great font. You did a great job. Did a great job on that, Jesse. I'm excited to end the live stream so I can go put the body on that saber and wield it around and get to the bottom of why I've got an error in font directory. But I think I know why, and I'll get that fixed. But, pretty cool. Yeah, No Sloppy's actually got some pretty cool fonts out there too that are pretty awesome. But, I want to thank everybody for tuning in each week. This gives me a chance to kind of reflect on everything that's going on. And, as things advance in the Saber community, it kind of helps keep me afloat and abreast of everything that's going on and changes that are made. I've learned a lot of things and got a lot of tips from y'all, from the viewers, while we're doing these things. Building this test rig, which I used to have a bunch of wires and stuff all hanging around everywhere. This was actually a tip from a viewer. Said, just put your test rig in a chassis. And I'm like, why didn't I think of that? So I did. I put my test rig in a chassis, and we did that on a live video. So it's a lot of fun doing these things. It's a lot of fun doing these videos because we get caught up with all of y'all and what you're doing. And, there's a lot of people in the Saber community that are really helping to advance it right now. Right now, I think Brian Connor has given Fernando a run for his money. Fernando's working on a lot of OS technical upgrades, but Brian Connor is working with OLED screens, blade styles. He's writing his own blades and sound fonts and different system sounds and system sound capabilities. Brian Connor is really pushing the envelope now. And it's so crazy because you see these guys come along, the Dimitri Stocks, the Fernando De Rosa, the Brian Connors, that keep pushing this OS further. And I think that's why and I know Jesse's not a huge fan of the Proffie because his one Proffie saber went foobar. But I can tell you, I've only had, I think, 2 Proffies go bad in all the sabers that I own. And I own a lot of Proffie and Teensy sabers. And one of them was self-imposed wiring. One of them was probably a defective board to begin with. And that was actually the true 1777's Graflex that lost his board. And I think that board was bad from the get-go. But the fact of the matter is open source boards like Proffie are so powerful because of all the developers that are working with it. But with that being said, there's a lot of great soundboards out there right now. Golden Harvest V3, the Verso soundboard with the upgraded firmware is really awesome. Cal's doing great things with the Verso. And, you don't have to keyhole yourself into Proffie. I think it's always wise to know how to install multiple soundboards because you never know what somebody's going to send you. So, you know, I can install anything from a Nano Biscotti up to a Crystal Focus in Proffie and Golden Harvest and Verso. There's not a soundboard that I'm afraid to mess around with. And Kirkbride makes sound fonts for most of them. Yeah, well, the zero button Saber is built, Max, but there's been so much going on. So I'll show it to you. So while I've got y'all here, this is my zero button Saber. It's totally empty right now, but the Saber is built. You know, I wanted to do some weathering on this one. You can see it's kind of like a quasi thin neck, quasi V2 looking Saber with a V2 clamp on it. And I'm going to probably do this grenade in black, and I'm probably going to do this one in black. You know, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I think I'm going to do the brass on the thin neck section here, like Matt McGurry did on his. And I don't know what I'm going to do up here, but I'm going to try to make it look unique. But then this is getting the Proffie with the zero button config on it. So it'll all be gesture stuff that fires the effects. But that's my zero button Saber. It's ready to roll. I just haven't installed it yet. But there's a lot going on. You know, I mean, we're in the middle of a Micom run right now, and I just finished assembling all those units and getting those shipped off tonight. And then I've got to build my Proffie V3 Saber, which we'll probably do next Monday on Megtooth Monday Live. And then we'll be, you know, beta testing V3 and beta testing OS V6. So I'm not going to be able to build that zero button Saber until after all that calms down. And, you know, I've got 2 lightsaber blades to build, and I've got to get 2 lightsabers sold. And, you know, then I've got a bunch of other customer sabers up here that I need to get churned out, including fixing this, you know, MK1 for one of my biggest customers over across the Pacific. No, I haven't set it up, but you can run Dimitri Stock's buttons, and he has the actual zero button setup, and I'm pretty sure Matt McGurry does too. I have to check with Matt, but I'm pretty sure he adopted. So that's the thing. So when these guys like Fernando or Dimitri or Matt McGurry or Brian Connor create their prop file for the buttons, they can actually steal each other's code to make certain parts of the other person's code work in their prop file too. So that's how those prop files exponentially get more creative, is because the users are all sharing it with each other. And like, say like Brian Connor likes something that Fernando did, but he also likes something that SA22C did, and then he also likes something that Dimitri did. He can grab pieces of all those and put it into his prop file, but that's what makes his prop file unique, is he's added those features that those guys added. So that's pretty cool. This is actually, the zero button Saber is actually all MHS Max with a Graflex clamp, but this is all the Custom Saber Shop MHS minus the Graflex clamp with the V2 clamp lever. Yeah, nerd up everybody. You know, Birch would want us to say that, and I ain't seen Birch tonight, but y'all keep Birch in your prayers. He's going through some mess right now, it looked like. You know, he's in a tough situation, so just keep Birch in your prayers. He certainly probably needs it right now. And a little hashtag nerd up action going there in the chat box. But you know, we've been on for about an hour. I realized some of that was the 6-minute lead up, but I got to get to doing shipping labels. So from now until I go to bed, I'll be printing up shipping labels for the Micom rigs that are shipping out. And Jen and Ukulele Girl are downstairs prepping the boxes to ship off these rigs. So now I got to get the labels printed for all these rigs to ship out. And then hopefully next week we'll be installing a Proffie V3 Saber. And, you know, I'm pretty excited about it. I've already have most of the Saber built. I just have to get it installed. So I'd probably just bring you all along for the install. Yeah. You you know, those guys, Fernando, especially Fernando's blade style page, you know, is invaluable when you need a quick blade style for a config. But I still think it's a good idea to be versed in authoring your own blade styles. For instance, on this Proffie Graflex, there were a lot of complex blade styles that I had to do in the crystal chamber, and the blinking red LEDs, and in my blinking blue LEDs that illuminate the chamber. That, you know, Fernando's blade styles wouldn't have necessarily have worked well for that, and I had to author my own blade styles for that. So it still comes in handy to know how to author your own blade styles, because Fernando can't think of everything that you would possibly need in a saber. And for main blades, yes. In my opinion, there's no sense in reauthoring a main blade. But when you're talking about accent LEDs and crystal chambers, which Max talked about that before, you know, that was pretty awesome. So yeah, I'm going to cut this one out. I see you're on there, Smooth Jazz family. I am hoping to build the blade. I got all the blade stuff, y'all know that, but I've been in the middle of a Micom run. So for those of y'all that didn't see, I also have to build all these. These are Micoms that are shipping out soon, and they actually use the Proffie operating system. And so those are all the Micoms that are going to be shipping out tonight that I built. And that's kind of been the holdup on why I haven't been making a lot of progress and everything else, was because I had to get the Micoms going. So that's why I haven't been able to build the blades. It's not like I haven't been doing stuff. Y'all have to realize I do work full time on top of all this. So, you know, I work full time. I get called out in the middle of the night a lot because of my job. And I try to build sabers in my off time, but I'm trying to balance my time off between building sabers and spending time with Jen and Ukulele Girl, which, you know, they're downstairs by themselves tonight because I'm up here with y'all. But they're helping me out so I can get these things off in the mail. So it's going to be awesome. So Kybertech sabers, you know, that's been Frederick's bane the whole time. Now he has designed this so that hopefully he can put the SD card to sleep, which was the last thing on the Proffie 2.2s that's still eating a little bit of juice. So in theory, yes, we should be able to put the SD card to sleep on Proffie V3, but we won't know until he officially turns it off in the operating system, which he still hasn't done. But the Proffie V3 does allow you to charge your battery through the USB port, and it has an upgraded SPIO SD card reader, which will be much faster. And there's an upgraded Proffie plugin, so that Brian Connors already tested a config that overloaded Proffie 2.2 on the previous Proffie plugin. Now is only at 40% usage, so there's a bigger memory on board the actual CPU on the Proffie V3s. So Proffie V3 is like I don't know, it's a huge leap, even though the board really looks the same as Proffie 2.2. Some of the components on the board, processes and programming that the board uses are vastly different than a Proffie 2.2. I think this is the biggest leap in Proffie since Teensy Saber changed to Proffie. Proffie V3 is a huge leap from Proffie 2.2, but Proffie 2.2 really wasn't much different than Proffie 1.5. You know, I hear a lot of people say, oh, I want a Proffie 2.2 in my saber, and I'm like, you know, there's nothing wrong with a Proffie 1.5, and there's still some Proffie 1.5s out there to be had. I mean, I still have 2 or 3 in my inventory. Nothing wrong with a Proffie 1.5. They work just as well as a Proffie 2.2. So, but now Proffie V3 is a different animal altogether, and it's going to be exciting. Y'all be able to keep up with the beta testing on TRA or on the Crucible, which is Frederick's new website, and I'm sure people will share stuff on Facebook as well. Oh no, there is a brand new board, Kybertech. There is a brand new board, but he has to update the OS to turn the SD card off on the new board to get it to go into hibernation or deep sleep. And, you know, we'll probably do that in beta testing, I would imagine. And, you know, he's using the buttons to wake the saber back up. So that's how that's going to be implemented. So there is a brand new board, Proffie V3. You can read about it on the Crucible. I can show you what that website is really quick. Let me share my screen, and I'll show you the Crucible website really quick before we sign off. So you go to a new one here. You go to my favorites, and hopefully y'all be able to see the website. I haven't moved the Crucible up yet, so it's still down here where I favorited it. So the Crucible here, and I'll show you the V3. Proffie boards, Proffie board V3, and we'll scroll up to the beginning. There's been a lot of posts in this, but I'll show you what the Proffie board V3 looks like. There's been a lot of posts. Y'all stand by because it sent me to the most recent post instead of starting at the beginning. But I'm trying to get to the beginning so you can see the Proffie board V3. So here it is. There's the Proffie board V3. That's what it looks like. You can see it doesn't look that much different than a 2.2, but has a whole lot more features. More flash, 512 kilobytes versus the 256 that were on the 2.2. Has more RAM, 160 kilobytes instead of 64. It's got more pins. The new CPU is BGA with 64 pins instead of 48. That means more data pins and other things. Faster SD card access through SDIO, like I said. USB onboard charging. Onboard status LED, new free pads, external USB, so you can wire an external USB on it. Spot for an additional large capacitor when you're driving the Bluetooth modules. 10 CPU pins, they're already tied together. Power and aux buttons are wake up capable, unlocking the possibility of a deep sleep mode. Several other pins have been added, yada, yada, yada. That's just kind of like an overview of the features, but you can see the board looks relatively the same as the Proffie 2.2, but it's quite a bit different. So it's pretty cool stuff. Actually, that's not true. Kybertech. So he did try to implement deep sleep on Proffie 2.2, but every time he put the SD card to sleep, he couldn't get it to wake it back up without rebooting the Saber. It was just an electronic defect, and he's done an engineering workaround on that with the V3 board. The V2 board and the 1.5 board will never technically have a deep sleep. They have a very low draw in standby mode right now. Most Sabers will last a month or two in standby mode, whereas in deep sleep, you get 6 or 9 months out of them. So that's the plan. It's still USB-C. It's still USB-C. Or micro USB, I'm sorry. He didn't go to USB-C. It's still micro USB, so it's still this guy. Not USB-C. So that's what's happening. Y'all can read about it. And hopefully y'all saw that link. We'll go back there and show you the Crucible website again. It's https://crucible.hubie.net/ well, if you just do that, that'll get you to the Crucible. But the Crucible website is there it is. https://crucible.hubie.net. That's the Crucible site where all the OS stuff is going on right now. That's it. And to rehash, y'all can also get Kyberphonics sound fonts at www.kyberphonicfonts.com. That'll get you to Jesse Kirkbride's site for the sound fonts that we installed tonight. So that's it for tonight. Hopefully it answered y'all's questions and y'all got to see what I'm working on. I've got to go work on shipping labels for these Micoms. I'm going to be up all night long packing Micoms, but we'll be in business. So hopefully we'll see y'all next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. And hopefully installing a Proffie 3 into... Wait! That's not good. Installing a Proffie V3 into this sucker. That's the hopes for next week. So, thank you everybody for watching. And tune in next time. We'll see y'all later.
Thank you everybody for watching, as usual. I really appreciate y'all tuning in on my channel. And as always,